Hey y'all, this is the third time I'm doing this. I heard a bunch of noise in the background outside, and I didn't want that in my video. So, and as you can tell, the movie and book I will be reviewing, or short story if you want to call it that, is the movie is Stand By Me. And it's by Columbia Pictures, and it's a Rob Reiner film. He's the director, but it's a short story by Stephen King, and it's not called Stand By Me. It's actually called The Body, and it's only like that thing, but the book is like that thick. And I mean, I bought this I think a year and a half ago or so, maybe even 2 years ago, and I just recently picked it up and I started reading it, and I liked it. I really did. I mean, let's start with the movie, shall we? Look at my notes real fast. Alright. Main cast is Will Wheaton, River Phoenix, Corey Feldman, and Jerry O'Connell, and Kiefer Sutherland. This is all their early work. This movie came out in 1986. Let's see. Will Wheaton plays Gordy LaChance. River Phoenix plays Chris Chambers. Corey Feldman plays Teddy Duchamp. And Jerry O'Connell plays Vern Tessio, and of course, Kiefer Sutherland plays Ace Murrell. I can never say that right. Murrell. I don't know why. Anyways, it's about these four best friends that are like around 12 years old. They hear about a kid their age going and picking blueberries, and they want to go find his body because he hasn't even been found yet. They said last he heard he went on this road, this way, blah blah blah. And they're like, I know where that's at. Let's go there. And it takes them like 3 days, and then within that 3 days, they find out who they really are. Like one of those coming of age films. I guess you spend it with your best friends, and you kind of learn. I mean, it's like almost like they're living together for 3 days, and you learn and hear what they want to do, or who they really are. It's one of those kind of deep things. And I mean, they kind of see a little bit more problems that they had with, like, he has problems with his dad, he has problems with his entire family, he has problems with his dad. He doesn't have any real problems except that he lost a jar of pennies. I really love the film, and I mean, of course, you know, which ones were, like, these two apparently have two older brothers. His is Eyeball, and his is, what was his brother's name? Billy. They're on an older type gang and stuff, and they're probably like in their 20s, maybe even high school. I'm not sure, never really said. So, they kind of go find, I think his name was Henry Bowers. Yeah, they go find Bauer's body, or because they think if they do that, they'll get a reward. But then later on, it is hinted that the two of the older brothers actually killed this kid. They hit him on the side of the road because they say that they stole a car and all that type of stuff. So eventually, their leader Ace finds out about it, and they want to go find the body. So they went into a car and they do that. When these four guys right here go and try to find him on foot, and it's like 30 miles, a 30-mile walk. So they run into a little mishaps of, like, just they try to stay in a junkyard, but then the owner tries to stick a dog on them, and that didn't go off so well. But in the end, you know, their friendship kind of got a little awkward, I guess you could say, because they're like, wow, we were so more different than what we realized. And they realize that they're not going to be going down the same paths and all that type of good stuff. And let's see, later on it takes place in present day, and you find out that Vern gets married Teddy, he tried to get into the army, but he couldn't because he had bad vision, and his dad tried to burn his ear off, and that's why his dad was in a mental institution. Let's see. Chris, you find out, you find out that this entire thing is by Gordy. It's like his point of view of what happened in those 3 days. Because he finds out Chris died at like a restaurant because he got stabbed in the throat because he was trying to settle an argument. And he pretty much is saying that Teddy and Fern just became 2 people in the hall. They kind of just all drift apart except for him and Chris. And then that's pretty much it. And he just becomes a successful writer. Let's move on to the book. It's a lot more depressing. A lot more verbal language, I guess you could say. And, in the book, the older kids say that they're going to get him back, and they never do. But in here, I can tell you the differences right now real fast. Ace tracks down Gordy, and he actually breaks his hand and breaks a couple of his body parts and sends him to the hospital, almost near to death. Oh, let's see. Chris, his older brother, broke his leg and everything. And you kind of find out that he actually has more than just an older sibling. He actually has like 3 younger siblings. The youngest is like 2, and then it's like 4, and I think 7 or 8. And that his mom kind of like ran off and wants to stay with her sister. And of course the dad's supposed to like help out. Never does. Let's see. And his brother kind of, like I said, broke his leg and all that type of bad stuff. Let's see. It's easier to grab this. His older brother saw him coming home from camping, and he decided he knocked him out with 1 punch, and he just let him lay there because he thought he accidentally killed him. He didn't even check his pulse. They tried to go after Teddy, but the only thing that happened was they just broke his glasses, and he wound up like grappling all of them and all that type of good stuff, and they eventually just left him alone. Later on, when, like I said, whenever they kind of when they all come back, they all kind of, most of them go their separate ways. Pretty much in the book, what happens is, of course, Gordy and Chris, they real good friends, and then they find out that Vern and Teddy kind of start having new friends, and they kind of like being the leaders of them, and they boss them around and treat them like shit. That's literally it. And then, of course, in later years, Chris's dad kind of neglects him because he wants to be a lawyer and all that type of stuff. And he thought he couldn't do it, but he did. So that was a good thing that happened in the book. But later, you find out that Vern dies in an apartment fire. Teddy crashes his car when he's on drugs and alcohol, and he had like several people in there. They died, he died, but one girl that was supposed to survive, however, she was on life support for about a couple of days, and then someone just pulled her plug, and they never found out who it was. And that's supposed to like leave you all suspenseful and stuff. And let's see, Gordy and of course Chris, he tries to settle an argument, and apparently, and it says in the book that this guy was actually really mentally unstable, and he actually gets stabbed in the throat, and then he dies almost instantly. And then Gordy kind of realizes that he's the only one from the group that is actually alive. He drives back to his town to reminisce, just because, and he sees Ace, and he says that he said in the book that Ace is like overweight, and this is supposed to take place like probably 12 years after. He's supposed to be like in his 30s, I believe. Like it's supposed to take place in like present day. Says he's overweight, and he just sees the town the same, just a little bit different, and then that's when the book ends. And everything else is just like depressing. Like they get into arguments about stuff, and they even talk about how they, like in the book, you don't really see them do a bunch of camping stuff. In this one, they're saying they're using shirts for towels, and they'll wet them, and they'll take them off, and they'll just put them on their backs to keep them cool and everything. It's all the type of camping stuff like you would see on Survivor, man. It's kind of cool. So it's a pretty cool thing to read about. You know, how they knew how to take care of themselves. Other than that, this book and movie review is done. I liked it. I liked both the book and the movie. I really wouldn't trade it for anything. I mean, this is one of the first Stephen King things I've owned. I mean, the other ones I saw that when I was little, I either rented or, yeah, I just rented them. Or I saw them at friends' houses. And I'm proud to say that this is the first one I own. I highly recommend you see it. I do want to see other genres. I mean, I keep saying I'm going to see Harry Potter, but I'm scared I'm not going to like it. That's my biggest fear. Because I'm not into, like, magic and stuff, but a lot of people tell me it's good. I'm like, mostly into horror. And Ender's Game, I heard that was really good. I mean, that, like, honestly, it flew off the shelf just as fast as the Carrie remake. And I mean, the Carrie, I'll get into that later. Ender's Game, I'm going to probably get that on Netflix or something, the Harry Potter series. If I'm going to watch that, I want the entire thing in front of me. I mean, I want all the movies in front of me so I can watch them. I'm thinking Netflix maybe has like a few of them, but I don't want to watch them all out of order. I don't like doing that. I'm really specific when it comes to watching movies. Oh, let's see. Yeah, this was going to be about the Carrie. I was going to do the remake of last year, the remake of 2002, the sequel, or the unofficial sequel, and the original. But I left my remake in the car because I went to a friend's house. So that might end. I may turn that into a 2-part one because there's just so much to cover, and I'm going to do the book as well. So I got 5 things to cover in less than 15 minutes. But other than that, and that may be a 2-parter. That might be. Because I'm going to talk about the characters I liked and didn't like all that type of good stuff. But honestly, if you're a fan of Rob Reiner and Stephen King, I highly recommend this one. I mean, it's really good. No matter who you are, you be young, old, and whatever. And I mean, if you want something that makes you think about your friends, this right here, and it kind of reminded me of my friends back when I was like 12 years old. My friends, Keith, Dalton, Brandon, all my other guy friends I knew since I was 12, and it just made me think, and I know it's getting a little off topic, but it made me think about how much we all just drifted apart. Despite the fact me and one of them still live in the same town, he's cute and everything, but no matter what, you're going to just always drift apart from your friends, no matter what, after high school. I mean, we're all like 24, and we knew each other since we were like 12 and 13. But honestly, watch that film, and it'll make you think. Other than that, this movie and book review is done, or short story review, and I will catch y'all later.